Hello punters and welcome back to another Saturday racing preview. So again, like I said in my Caulfield video, apologies if for last week, missed last week's getting my videos in on time. So I do apologise for that. Hopefully plenty of you can get onto this and we can find plenty of videos for tomorrow. So if you are new here, please subscribe. Like the video, give a comment down below on any of your thoughts on any of the races tomorrow, or if you want my thoughts on anything, I'll be more than happy to respond. I enjoy the discussion in the comments. That's why I love this great sport. Obviously, everyone has a good opinion on different things, and there's always anything can win. It's always the saying. There's never a sure thing in horse race, which is why it is so good. If you are new, yeah, like I said, subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Really appreciate all of you that have already subscribed. Over 100 subscribers, just incredible to me. I never thought I'd be able to get anywhere near that when I first started this. When I was sort of only sort of niggling around that sort of 10 subscribers mark for a long time. So I really appreciate all of you who do support this video and watch it every week. So it means the world to me. But hope we can find plenty of us tomorrow. If you're new here, obviously, I'll go through the program and have a look at each race, dissect it, give you my thoughts on some of the chances, and then give a top four selection. What I did in my last video, if you haven't already seen it, obviously the Guineas Day preview at Caulfield. I've already done that video. It'll be uploaded before this one, so if you go check that one out, if you're interested in the racing at Caulfield tomorrow, which I'd say you would be with the 4 Group 1s, but regardless, if you're not, that's fine. But if you are, then obviously go and check that one out as well. Obviously, in that video, instead of the Quaddie Selections being in the video, I put it in the description. I'm going to be doing that in this video as well, just save that little bit of time at the end of my videos. I have been going over a couple of times, and it just takes me so much more longer to put the videos together because it cuts out at a certain point on my camera here. So looking at race number 1 the program tomorrow, we got a 9 race field. The Tab Highway handicap over 600 metres. Really looking forward to this race here. Look at the speed map. Look, I think that Ranta Rock, Loverdine, Temple one more choice, Scalio up the stairs, looks to be plenty of pace on here. Even Liardo off the inside barrier is not usually a horse that likes to go up towards the speed, but might want to get prominent from that good draw on the inside there. So it looks to be plenty of speed in the race, and I think it'll set up nice for Amy Shadow here. I think this horse is really well placed. I think it's going to run a good race here. I really like its chances. That had a good trial recently after it won. Winning, of course, the highway race at Rose Hill from that was back on the 12th September. So it's had nearly a month off racing, and just that recent tick over trial, which was only just over a week ago at Scone, it was a good piece of work. And I think this horse can run well again. Just the race looks perfectly set up for it. Looks the one to beat for me. So it goes on top. And at number 2, Obolos, who I think if it gets a bit of luck off that inside barrier, I think it can run pretty well. I liked its win last start, beating Liam's the Boss at Kemba Grange at 40-1. That was a really good effort, and I think it would be hard to beat, so it goes in for second. In for third, number 3, Scalio, who I think's in good form at the moment. Obviously, the last start win, which was in the highway race at Rose Hill, narrowly got up over the line. That was back on the 26th, so 2 weeks ago. I think it'll run well again here. Looks really well drawn. Nashville is in flying form in the saddle, so couldn't have much better jockey in the saddle. And then number 10, Temple One, got to put the favourite in there. This horse looks to have a bit of ability. It was a little bit disappointing last time out behind Scalio in that higher race. It was well backed on that occasion. So again, probably got to give it a bit of a forgive based off that run. I probably couldn't say or necessarily turn the tables on Scalio, but I could see that it probably will run a far more improved race. I do think up the stairs is a bit over the odds here. I think didn't mind its first up run at Taree. I thought that was a good effort there. And while the second up form's not great, neither was the first up form, and yet the first up form run was quite good. So I got to give it a bit of a chance, and it's had a bit of each way specking as well from 26 into 16. But recap the numbers for me. Look, I am pretty keen on number 4, Amy Shadow here. Think it's going to be hard to beat. The race looks perfectly set up for it. In for second, number 2, Obolos. In for third, I've got number 3, Scalio. Then in for fourth, number 10, Temple 1. Moving on to race number 2 in the program now, we have got the Roman Console, and just the 5 horses to go around in it, which is a little bit disappointing, I suppose, but it's a really good quality field as well. But I think Wild Rule will be able to lead them up, and probably will be able to get the speed on its own. I think Asamu will probably either tuck in behind or just sit outside the lead. But yeah, it looks like Wild Rule is going to dictate the terms, and has been pretty well backed. I can see why. I mean, obviously, he looks to get the perfect run of the race. The winner of this race, I believe, will get that final Everest slot. And then, look, if obviously there's that little bit of conjecture at the moment around Farnan and his injuries, he's had a recent setback. I mean, I wrote about it the other day uh, on SEN down here in Victoria. So if any of you haven't already done so, go and check that one out. Just a little bit of a plug in there for some of the work that I do. So if you go on SEN track, or even just Google about Farnan, you'll if you're right, Farnan SEN, you'll probably come up. And I just spoke about how I think that injury. It's so risky to now take him. Like if you have him as a slot, obviously he can go in it and run well. He can do it. Yes, did last year and win it. But at the same time, he's had one run in a Golden Rose. The run to the Rose where he was disappointing. Obviously, he was run off his feet, and a lot of people blame Hugh Bowman for that. But even still, the horse had a part to play. It didn't seem to want to settle, which is perhaps why Huey let him roll. So you got to have that thought as well. He had a good bit of work in his. He had a not a barrier trial, but he had like a bit of work between races midweek on the Randwick Kensington track. So I think it was 2 weeks ago. He looked really sharp, but then now he's had that another setback, and it just makes you think: do you take him into a big race like that, or if something really puts its hand up through this, or even the Scalacci, like I was mentioning in the Corfu video, do you take that instead? Maybe is that a bit more safety, or do you take the risk in the thought that if Farnan's right to go, he could run quite well in a race. Just that, yeah, it's so much intrigue, so much interest. Is why the Everest is really taking off, because it's just we value our sprinters so highly here in Australia, and obviously we do have some of the best sprinters in the world, in my opinion. And it's just there's such a unique nature about it being an all basically Australian race, and it is the best of the best. And obviously, yeah, you get to see 3-year-olds come up against older horses. You got Santana Lane in there and whatnot. But anyway, what I'm going to actually do, just speaking on this really quickly, I'll get this out there as quickly as possible. I'm going to do a bit of a preview video during the week for the Everest and the Caulfield Cup on their own. I'm going to go through each runner. So if you're looking forward to that, I'm going to get that done on either Tuesday or Wednesday. So keep an eye out for that one, where I'll be specifically looking at those two races for the weekend up ahead. So it's probably something I'll continue to do with the Cox Plate and the Melbourne Cup in the weeks after. So anyway, back to this race here, the Roman Consul. Look, I think Dowland's got to be the one you go with here. Obviously, he was very good winning up the straight at Flemington last start. This obviously is a tougher assignment. He beat Amish Boy on that occasion, who then finished second in the 1,000 Guineas Prelude. Sorry, it was the Guineas Prelude, my mistake. And so the form's been pretty good there. And I think Dowland, he's always had a lot of ability. He's had plenty of hype about him. And similarly with Wild Ruler, he's just going to need that, I guess, a bit of pace on to come into it, but there is a small field, so I think they'll all get their chance. So he goes on top ahead for me, ahead of number 1, Wild Ruler, who I do think's got a great amount of ability as well. And I'm really keen to see these two face off. I think they're going to be the two fighting at the finish. Asamu's obviously got a fair amount of ability in his own right. I thought his fourth behind Wild Ruler last start wasn't that bad, and it's only 1.9 lengths off him. And looking here at the weights, down 1.5. Yeah, so I mean, Wild Rule actually comes down the weight, so it's hard to see a Samu term in the tables, but should be. I think it's the clear third pick, and then on the lead goes in as the fourth pick for me. They look to be the ones, but look, you can definitely take a Cornell about Doubtland and Wild Rule. I think they're 100% going to be the two fighting out the finish, and I think Doubtland will get the better of him, so he goes on top for me. Head of number 1, Wild Rule, and for second, and for third, number 3, Asamu, then in for fourth, number 4 on the lead. Moving on to race number 3 on the program now. We've got the Drinkwise Benchmark 88. And look at the speed map here. I think Zakat, Radipole, and probably Bound to Win will probably lead them up. Akari probably won't be too far away with Batiga. So we get to see the really exciting Crederis hit go around in this, but I think he's pretty short at the $2.20. And I would much rather go with number 1, Batiga, who I thought he was terrific first up. I loved his effort. Obviously, with Gerald Ryan, he's going to get out over Trip. He's kept him at the 1,400 metres, which is interesting, but having that run on his belt, I think he'll show plenty of improvement off that, and he'll run pretty well in this. And looks like he potentially will go towards the Golden Eagles. So I think that's why Gerald Ryan's probably keeping him at these distances, just to say he's ready for that Golden Eagle trip over 1,500 metres, which is probably a smart option. Just keep him, fresh rather than step him out distance and bring him back again. I think that's probably a good tactic. So it goes on top for me, ahead of number 4, Akari, who thinks well over the odds in a race like this. Obviously steps back from Pretty good grade. I was 81 to 1 last start, and I really couldn't believe it when I was behind Sapine and Emeralds. They're going around in the spring championship later on the program, Group 1 race there. So, look, she's obviously fine. She's a bit out of form, and that's the only query, but she's got plenty of ability. We saw this time last year she won some terrific racing, including a race on I think it was Oaks. It was either Stakes Day or Oaks Day from off the top of my head. But she's obviously has ability. She just hasn't come back that well. But $15 about her could be well enough rewarding. In for third, I've got number 9, Crediris, who looks a really good horse. I loved his run last start. He obviously was beaten as a favourite, which disappointed a lot of punters. But look, he was still quite good there, and he was beaten by Academy and Ice Bath, who pretty consistent performers at this sort of benchmark, 88 level or whatever. Bound to Win goes in for fourth for me as well. And the other one Bound to Win has got a terrific second up record, so expecting it to bounce back off its first up disappointment. Zakat is the other one who I don't think's got a bad chance in this. Obviously, has been really good this preparation, hasn't been outside the top 4 in 4 runs. And Be Beautiful, interesting first up runner here from coming over from France. Obviously, probably look for a bit further, but has had the 5 career starts for 3 wins and 2 placings. James McDonald takes the reins. Obviously, have a good watch on the betting here. The 2 trials weren't flash, but if this horse comes in with a little bit of money towards start time, and if it looks quite good in the yard, it could be a good chance here. She looks to have a lot of class, so obviously she'll be looking for probably a little bit further in trip, but you got to respect what she did do over in France before she's come into the care of Chris Waller. So, recap the numbers for me. I've got Batiga. I think this is a good race for him. So he goes on top ahead of number 4, Akari, who I just think if she can recapture her good form, she could really win a race like this. So she goes in for second. In for third, number 9, Crediris. So then in for fourth, I've got number 8, Bound to Win. Moving on to race number 4 on the program now. Benchmark 78 over 2,000 metres. Look at the speed map here. I suggest that the likes of Rapido Chaparro will probably lead them up. I don't really see too many others testing the speed. And as such, I think that some of these main contenders are going to be back in the field. They're going to be looking to chase, and I think it's going to suit nice for Quintessa here, who was a good run last time out at Randwick over 1,800 metres, finishing second of Badouche, hit the line really well on that occasion. Goes up 1 kilo in weight from that start there, while Badouche goes from Badouche actually had a run at Randwick Kensington in between that run from last start, 2 starts back at Rose Hill. On that occasion, Badouche carried 55 kilos, so goes up 5.5 kilos. I mean, it's hard to see it could beat Quintessa again, and yet they're at the same price. So Quintessa's definitely the one that goes on top for me, ahead of number 13, Arcana, who obviously was good winning last start, beating Nimali narrowly at Canterbury. That was a good effort there, and I think we'll really appreciate stepping up to 2,000 metres. It goes in for second. In for third, I've got number 8, She's Ideal, who's been a little bit disappointing so far as preparation, but I think she gets her a chance here, which is at a much better price at the $6. Relucent's got to be given a chance at $17. I can't really believe how he's at this price. He's a horse that we know can get that out to this distance range. He's running some top racing, especially when he was a 3-year-old. And I liked his last start performance. He managed to hold off Cisco Bay since run well. So the form's there, and I think Relucent can run well, stepping up to 2,000 metres from the 1,900. Miyake is probably not a bad chance third up, coming out to the 2,000 metres that ran behind Relucent last start. Also is at $16. I mean, it's crazy some of the price of these horses. Vegas Jewel obviously ran pretty well last start, and $6.50. But look, I am very keen to go with number 12, Contested. I think it's going to be close to the speed. Should be able to get close to the finish. And then in for second, I've got number 13, Arcana. In for fourth, I've got number 8, in for third, She's Ideal. Then in for fourth, number 11, Relucent. Move on to race number 5 in the program now. We've got the Stand Fox Stakes, and look at the speed map for this race. I think Peltzer, Jet Propulsion will probably lead them up. Prime Star won't be too far away. But look, this is probably my best bet of the program. Number 2, Peltzer. I mean, this is the easiest race he's faced in really some time. This whole preparation he's come up against the horses leading towards like the Golden Rose and whatnot. He finished 5th in the Golden Rose behind Ole Kirk and North Pacific last start. The run to the Rose, he finished 4th behind Rothfire and Ole Kirk. He finished 2nd to Anders, who obviously just blew the lids and absolutely romped in for over the 1,100 metres. So Gets out of the 1500 here, Pelter, and I just think this is a perfect race for him. It looks really well suited, and $2.70 is a great price. I'm going to be getting straight into that personally. Jet Propulsion is an interesting runner. Obviously, is a horse that's still lightly raced. Only the 3 race starts so far in its career. Its last start was back on the 12th of September, so it's had a bit of time off and finished third to Mwanga, which is obviously could be pretty good form. This horse, obviously Mwanga's been given a pretty good chance to go down to the Caulfield Guineas and take it out. So got to respect the form. And likewise with Global Quest, who was disappointing last start over at Rose Hill in the that was in the Golden Rose behind Ollie Kirk and North Pacific. So I can't see it getting the better of Pelter, but the start prior obviously finished second behind Mwanga and did beat home Jet Propulsion, who is the $3.80. So I mean, Global Quest beat at home 2 starts back, and it finds itself at $7, while Jet Propulsion finds itself at $3.80. So a little bit of a query interest there. Prime Star obviously finished second last time out behind a Theory at Randwick. That form's been franked. Theory won again last weekend, so decent form there. But look, Peltz looks really hard to beat, and I'd be getting on him now because $2.70, I don't think that's going to last. I expect him to try and ride in towards the $2 mark. He's got to carry. Oh, it doesn't even have to carry the weight by mistake. So I thought he had to carry 60 kilos, but he's going at 56 and a half, and it looks such an easy race for him in comparison to what he's faced, and he should be winning this. So he goes on top for me. Out of number 5, Jet Propulsion. In for second, in for third, I've got number 4, Global Quest, and in for fourth, number 3, Prime Star. Moving on to race number 6 on the program now, and we get to see the Silver Eagle, obviously the lead-up race to the Golden Eagle, and we get to see Alligator Blood go around here for the first time in New South Wales. Really exciting. He obviously probably will lead them up, although he did get back in the field in his first up run at Doomben, but I expect he'll lead if he steps out of the barriers well enough, and Chat won't be too far away. Flit and Dawn Passage will be there or thereabouts. Well, look, Alligator Blood, I thought he was really good first up, considering he was back in the field. He romped home late over 1,100 metres. It was always going to be a bit short of his peak distance. He steps out at 1,300 metres here. He should run a lot better, but $1.85 is a bit short for me, so I've gone with Dawn Passage, who I think is a much better bet and is probably a bit more safer, as he's got a terrific first up record. He went to basically a new level during the winter and the later months of the autumn, and I love some of his work that he did. He's going to really appreciate this type of race here. He probably won't be too far off them. I reckon he'll be probably maybe the pair behind the speed, and I think he'll be able to run him well. He just is, for me, he's a horse who's going to be much better to back it at the 480 rather than going the $1.85 Alligator Blood. So he goes on top for me, head of number 1 Alligator Blood, who, like I mentioned, I think will be right at the finish there. I just think that at $1.85, considering he didn't step out of the barriers at Doomben and went towards the rear of the field, that for me is just a little bit of a query. Flit, we'll really appreciate getting back in grade here, and looks $9 about it. Looks a pretty good price. The Drager King in the saddle, obviously last up, forms behind Hawkbury on her and Jen Rules. She'll find this a lot easier. She got a long way back in that race there, never really got a chance, so you can forgive that performance. Prior to that, she was running a Group 1 company, and she ran a second to Eduardo first up, so I think she'll really appreciate getting back in grade here, and she'll run a good race at the $9. The other one that obviously subpoenaed, she bounced back nicely last start, winning well over Rose Hill. She's always promised a lot, and she delivered last time out, and I think she'll really appreciate getting out to the she actually steps back in distance back to 1,300 metres, which is a little bit of a query for me, but and obviously she's always shown a fair bit of ability, but it's good to see that she got that win last start. That could do her a world of confidence, and maybe she might be able to bounce back off of that, but I do think $5 a bit short. I'd probably rate it a bit more around that $7 to $8 mark, but look, for me, I'm going with Dawn Passage. I think it's the better bet ahead of number 1 Alligator Blood, who he will be hard to beat, but just think $1.85's a little bit short considering the queries. Number 2, Flit's a bit over the odds at $9, and then in for fourth, number 7, Subpoena. They look to be the main chances for me, and the market reflects that as well. So moving on now into the feature race of the day, we've got the Moet Chandon Spring Champion Stakes over 2,000 metres. Pretty good field as well. I think this is really competitive, and I'm looking forward to seeing this race here. Look at the speed map. I think Bucharest, Lions Raw, Love Tap will definitely try and show some speed, lead them up from barrier number 14, which is a bit of a tricky draw. I'd like to be interested to see if some of the horses from the inside barriers like to try and push up and make Love Tap work for the lead, and Miraval obviously probably won't be too far off either, but look, I'm very keen to go into, well, it's interesting, Galbarado's been scratched here. I was, obviously, Natalie Young spoke to her, and she was thinking that he might go up at the 7-day backup, but Worthema has gone up there, and this horse has got a lot of ability. I'm very keen on this horse at $18. I think it's one of my better bets of the program at the 18. Look, he's had a lot of ability since coming over from New Zealand. He's set to go towards the VRC Derby. They're looking to do exactly what they did with Sangster, which he obviously went to this race. He finished third in it, then went to the VRC Derby and won it. So they're hoping to do a bit better here. And Natalie Young sounded really confident when I spoke to her. And you can go and check. You can check that article out as well on SCN. Sorry to give you all these plugins, but you can go check that out as well. My discussion there, and you can hear exactly what she said. So obviously, look, he looks to have a lot of ability. I was on him last time out at Flemington at over 1800 meters, where he was basically back last on the inside. On the inside fence, he had absolutely no chance from there. But eventually, Oliver got him to the outside. He mowed it home. He really hit the line with terrific gusto, and he was a really good thing beaten, I reckon. If he was closer in the run, he would have won that race. So, and if he had done so, he wouldn't have needed to go into this race here. But he basically needs to be running well to get into the VRC Derby. So I think he'll be right in the finish. And Trev Buss and Natalie Young obviously took out the Group 1 last week with Mirage Dancer, and they're going to be looking to do it again with Worth Theme, and I think they can do it. So this horse will be very hard to beat, and it's on top for me. Ahead of number 1, Cherry Tour Tony, who goes up to Randwick for the first time, and looks to be a bit of a chance as well. I really liked his second last start to Glenn Fiddick, who obviously was going to go into the Guineas as one of the favourites, and obviously with that setback has had its spring ended, but Cherry Tour Tony hit the line well. He's always struck me as a horse that would get out over 2,000 metres and run it well, so I think he's going to be right in the finish at the $6. Love Tap obviously has been terrific so far, but it's a horse that's got a lot of hype, and obviously it was very good last start betting. But it's coming up against some very, very good 3-year-olds here. So he's got to step up to the mark now. $3.60 for me. Just that bit short. I'd rather go something a bit of odds with better exposed form against better horses, basically. So Love Tap does go in for third for me, but I do have a lot of respect for it. In for fourth, number 13, Montefilia, who obviously was really good running down Hungry Heart last start, is now the favourite for the 1,000 guineas. So we'll get to see a bit of a form reference there with the 1,000 guineas. I believe that race goes around before the spring champion, so we'll get a bit of an idea into that there. But she was really good last start, and I think she strikes me as a filly that'll get out over 2,000 metres as well, especially the way she hit the line last time out. But she is a bit short at the $3.50, so I did look around her. Number 9, Choir, I think's over the odds at 20-1. Was really good in that. Finished third in the Derby trial, so did beat Worth Theme at home. Obviously, Worth Theme, in my opinion, had plenty of bad luck there, but Choir did run really well there, and the 2,000 metres is going to suit this horse really nicely. Prior to that, it did win at Maui on heavy surface, so obviously that's not the greatest form when you look at it, but the third in the Derby trial, the fourth to Alicon, 3 starts back, also reads pretty well. So Choir's going to be given a bit of a chance at 20-1 here, stepping out and trip. And Lions Raw's been pretty good as well. Can't really fault what he's done so far, and he's 19-1 also. So there's a couple of good chances each way, which is why I've looked around the 2 favourites. I'm very, very keen on number 10, Worth Themo. It's one of my better bets of the program at the $18. Sit goes on top. And at number 1, Cherry Tour Tony for second. In for third, I've got number 3, Love Tap. Then in for fourth, number 13, Montefilia. Race number 8 on the program is the Anx Stakes over the 1,600 metres. Look at the speed map here. I think that Graceful Glamour will lead these up. Positive Peace probably won't be too far away. Shout the Bar and Missy Beale will probably be the other ones that will be looking up towards the pace there. Look, I'm very keen to go with Roach O'Clock here at $29. I think this horse is, again, another horse that's well over the odds. And second up form's really good. 2 starts from second up for 2 wins. I think the step out to the 600 metres is going to be perfect for this horse. A trip that really looks to suit it well. I think it's got a really good run in the race. Glenn Boss in the saddle. I think it's going to run well. I didn't mind its first up performance in the benchmark 88. It was a bit disappointing on paper, but Prime Candidate really bursts away there and didn't really let anything back in the field catch up. So I can forgive that run first up, and I'll take it into a second up run here at the $29, because if it can replicate the type of form it showed last preparation, it will go pretty close in a race like this. And obviously tried out really good leading into that last up performance. So I think that with that bit more pressure mid-race here, it might be able to get its chance to run into the race from back in the field. Number 13, Nudge, I think, is over the odds here as well. Third up here looks to be a really good chance. Didn't mind its last up performance when it finished 6th, but I was really impressed with the third behind Prime Candidate and Wonder Bar over the 1,200 metres. Obviously, that form's still up pretty well with Prime Candidate. This horse goes into this third up, but has 2 starts from 2 runs third up, so I think it can run pretty good here as well. Number 2 positive piece has to be given a chance. I did like its performance last start, finishing fourth behind Subpoenaed and Emeralds, and step out at 600 metres here looks to suit. Number 1, Shout the Bar, is the other one that I'm also think's got a good chance as a Group 1 winner, and I went around at 81 to 1 last start, which really stunned me and ran pretty well. I finished 6th on that occasion there, and so definitely outran its price, and I think it run well enough here again with Tim Clark in the saddle. He might just look to go and take up the lead here, and might be able to get it as well with Graceful Glamour, probably the only other one that'll be up towards the speed there. Other chance of the race, I do think All Saints Eve has got to be worth a mention, but I do think that it is a bit over the odds. It has the tricky barrier number 15 to overcome, but it has done quite a lot of good things in its career so far. Its win last start, being Yamazaki, Newcastle, was quite good there on that occasion. Graceful Glamour, obviously, is going to really appreciate being in the lead, rolling along at its own tempo. Third up form isn't great. It tends to get better the further on into her preparation she gets, but she did run at Moonee Valley last time, was beaten by Mystic Journey and Perfect Jewel. She was gone on the turn there. She just went way too quick, but prior to that, she finished fourth at Dreamforce and Colding, so a repeat of that type of performance could see her win a race like this, so she's definitely a good chance at the odds. And Asiago is another one I don't think is a bad option. And Emeralds as well will probably appreciate the 600 metres after the second last start to Subpoenaed. So plenty of good chances in this second last race of the program, but I am keen to go with numbers 14 Roach Clock. I thought it was a bit over the odds at $21. Looks to get a really good run of the race. I'm willing to forgive that first up performance, and if it can run sort of back to the top performance showing last preparation, I think it can run pretty good here at the $21. So it goes on top for me. Ahead of number 2 Positive Peace in for second. In for third, I've got number 13 Nudge in for second. In for third, number 2 Positive Peace. Then in for fourth, I've got number 1 Shout the Bar. Moving on to race number 9 of the program now, final race of the meeting, benchmark 78. Look at the speed map here. I do think that there will be a fair bit of speed in this. I think Mr. Mosaic, Iconic Star, and Miss Invincible and Believe will all be up towards the speed there, and they'll ensure that some of the back marks will probably get their opportunity to come into it. I'm keen to go with Plaquette here. I really liked its first up performance. It was a nice win at Hawkesbury. On the Randwick Kensington track. The recent trial at Hawkesbury was quite sharp, which is what I'm looking at here. Beat Flit, the stablemate Flit on that occasion. So I know it's only a trial, but that's what you like to see, them beating good horses. And I just love the way that she got into her work. She ran really well on that occasion, first up at Randwick on the Kensington track. Beat One Diva, hasn't really gone on with it, but has had plenty of wraps on it. So I think Plaquette, if it can replicate that type of performance here, it's drawn to get a really good run in the race. It should go pretty close here. So it goes on top for me, ahead of number 4 Superior, who probably finds itself in a pretty good grade of race here, considering what it has contested in the past. So has a decent chance first up, has decent first up form as well. 4 starts for 2 wins first up, so you got to give it a little bit of respect there. Number 3, Iconic Star, I think it's a bit over the odds here. It's a horse who run pretty well last preparation, and obviously ironed out a couple of good races, and it has good first up form, and looks to be getting a run on the speed, and could be giving them something to catch at the $18, a bit over the odds for me. The other one that I thought that was also not a bad mention at the price was number 10 Hulk, who looks to be turning a corner a little bit. He looks seems to be coming back to a bit of form. His win last start at Warwick Farm was quite good. Mr. Mosaic's got to be worth a mention if he's able to bounce back off his last up performance, where he was narrowly beaten by Chat, who goes around in one of the better races of the program early on in the program. So we will get a little bit of a guide into that. Where is Chat? Let me just double check. I think it was in race number 6. Race number 6. So Chat runs well there in the Silver Eagle. You can get a bit of a guide going to race number 9 with Mr. Mosaic on how he can go. I just thought that he might. I'm just not too sure how he's going to go up in grade here. But it's just that little bit of a query for me. Coming into Saturday grade for the first time, and I thought he had every chance last time out, and he was beaten. So I just think that there's no knock at him, and he's a good price as well, $6.50. You don't mind that. And I have gone against Human Nature, who was really good at Moonee Valley first up, finished second to Alpha Oro, who's a very smart horse, and that was in a benchmark 84 grade. The step back in grade will suit this horse as well, but 420 is a bit short for me, especially with that tricky barrier to overcome. So I have gone Plaquette here, but this is a really hard race to finish off the program, so not taking with a whole lot of confidence. Even and Believe as well with Karen McAvoy in the saddle for Bjorn Baker looks a bit of a chance as well. But recap the numbers, sorry. I do think that number 11 Plaquette's on top, but not with a lot of confidence. I do think Superior also has a chance at number 4 for second. If for third, number 3 Iconic Star, then if for fourth, number 10 Hulk. Now, my best bets and best value bets of the program. So my best bet does come in the Stan Fox, and it is number 2 Pelter. I think he's going to be extremely hard to beat at the 270. Looks to be a really good race for him, and I think he'll be the one to beat in that one there. So it's race number 5, and it is number 2 Pelter at the $2.70. I'm going to stick to my word. I really do believe that Worthema's got a very good chance. Could easily make him a best value bet. I'm going to make him one of my best bets. So I think I've got that much of an opinion of him. I think he's a very good horse, and I think he can win the Derby. I've already gotten on him for the Derby. As soon as he won that first up win at Cranmer, got on him straight away for the Derby because I knew that's where he was heading, and I'm just very confident his chances in this race tomorrow. So I think he's one of my better bets of the program as well at the $18. So you don't really get too many best bets at $18 out there. So I'm that confident on it that I'm going to declare it. If the other one that I didn't mind as well, look, Doubtland obviously is I probably could have put in my best bets. Let's be honest, he's probably going to be running top 2 no matter what, and I really do think he's a strong chance to win. So I have left him out of my best bets. Look, if you want to, but that's if you want another one that you want to maybe multi up. You can multi up Doubtland and Peltzer, and I think you'll get a really good run for your money. The other one I didn't mind each way value as well in the program outside of Worthema, who is run number 14, Roger Clock in race number 8. Do think I think if she can return to form, he can run. She can run pretty well in this race in the Anks tomorrow at 21-1. So there's another one that probably at each way value you could probably take as well. And Quintessa at 550 is probably a good each way play for me as well. I do think this horse will be right at the finish again, so you could probably take it as a good each way bet. If you want to look at my quaddie, you want to follow along tomorrow, have a look in the description. I'm going to be popping that one in there. Not going to be discussing in this video, but really appreciate you tuning in. Obviously, if you haven't already done so, go give me a follow on social media. CLane_racing tips on Facebook, and CLane Racing Tips on Facebook, and CLane_racing tips on Instagram. Subscribe if you're new, like the video, give your comments down below. I'm really interested to hear your thoughts. So thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Apologies for the late upload. Hopefully you don't watch this too late this evening, or you can get on this tomorrow before the races. So good luck tomorrow if you're playing. Really appreciate you tuning in, and happy punting tomorrow, and enjoy the terrific racing.